most high Christ. If you, yes, sir. You got it?
Yeah, it's something I got mine. It's coming to my phone, so.
Lord in Christ. That's what it is. Let's do it. It's the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out at 1 West 125th Street under commanding General Yohanna. It's business as usual. If you don't have a head, your body is useless. We're going to get into a topic today that I feel like is extremely relevant and extremely important to brothers and sisters that are in the truth. It's essential that as we grow in this truth, we don't become relaxed and we don't become lazy because of this Christian spirit that's floating through the atmosphere. We keep on hearing about the forgiveness because of Jesus, and Jesus died for our sins, this, that, and the other. And it is very true. Jesus did die for your sins up until the point that you came into the truth. Once you in the truth, it can't be no games at all. You got to, man, we got to stick to this law as if our life depended on it. And the truth being told is our life does depend on it because we understand it through the law and through the commandments. That's how we receive life. Nothing spooky at all. It's just essentials, and it's the basics of what we're dealing with. So we must understand how important it is for us to stick to these laws, statutes, and commandments. It ain't no way around it. And we're going to go through some examples of some people through the scriptures who were not in the truth, came into the truth, and wavered away from the truth. And basically, in a nutshell, some of the things that happened to them, because the scriptures also say that these things were written before time for our understanding. So like I said, it is a must that we understand that, yes, we are protected. We are under the umbrella of the Most High. But it's not impossible for us to slip up. You can still lose this battle. So if I could, give me Amos chapter 3, verse 2. Because the Most High, of course, we already understand that the Most High is dealing with a specific group of people. But we also must understand that if we step outside of this protection, that we're going to be dealt with a little bit more rough, a little bit more rash, and a little bit more harshly than any other group of people. Because we've been given a lot. This whole entire planet has literally been set in our hands. Right now, we are on the verge, or we are working towards being the ruling class of the entire planet. And I understand blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans don't understand. I can't even really mentally wrap your brain around rulership or owning anything. I mean, we own nothing. We don't own the vehicles we drive. We don't even own the houses that we live in. Like I tell people all the time on the streets, if you think you own the house you live in, try not paying your taxes. Right. You'll find out in a hurry how much you really own around here. So we've lived our entire life being at the bottom. But all of us that have come into this truth, we all are able to understand that we're fighting for something greater than what we have right now. The purpose of this class and the encouragement that I'm giving to my brothers and sisters that are in the truth is don't lose. Don't went through everything that you've gone through to enter and come into this truth and come into this knowledge and start to get relaxed and start to get lazy and start to feel like that, oh, it's okay if I do this. I know the law say I'm not supposed to do that, but you know God won't mind because God does mind, and it's that serious. Get that scripture, if I could. Amos chapter 3, verse 2.
This is the book of Amos, chapter 3, verse 2. You only have I known of all the families of the earth.
You only. Now, we all know that if you inside of this room, you are an Israelite. To reiterate and to drive home what we already know, us only. And even for the people that are out there on the internet that might be logging in for the first time, if you are a so-called black, Hispanic, or Native American, out of all of the families on the face of the earth, this is the Most High talking. He said, you only have I known. Keep reading.
Therefore, I will punish you. Therefore, he will iniquities.
Therefore, he will do what?
Punish you for all your iniquities.
The you is the Israelites. He said, I will punish you. Notice he didn't say that he would punish everybody else. He said that I would punish you Israelites, for all your iniquities. Now, if I could give me Matthew chapter 22, verse 14. Because it's also a lot of Israelites that are not in the truth. And most of us that are in the truth, we understand that the truth being told, 2/3 of Israel are going to be cut off and 1/3 is going to be saved. I'm looking at the 1/3 that is going to be saved. Everybody that chooses to keep the law, statutes, and commandments is going to be saved. Us Israelites. You got that scripture?
God.
Read.
This is the book of St. Matthew, chapter 22, verse 13. Then said the king to the
22 and 14.
Salakia. 22 and 14?
Matthew chapter 22, verse 14.
Stop at, okay, Salakia. This is the book of St. Matthew, chapter 22, verse 14. For many are called, but few are chosen.
For many are called. There are what? I don't know, like 38 million just Negroes alone inside of the United States. I think another maybe 14 million Hispanics. And I don't know how many Native American, what I'm saying is there are millions of us. And see, when you start to look all over the globe, there are millions of Israelites, maybe even billions of Israelites on the face of the planet. The scriptures say many are called because we are all Israelites. We are all called to come back to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. But there's only going to be a select few of us that are chosen. Only a select few of us are going to be able to look at these scriptures and shake off of this Christian spirit and say, hey, I am an Israelite. The white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Right. The law, statutes, and commandments pertain to me only, and I must be keeping them all. Everybody's not going to be able to do that. The majority of the people are going to love to hang on to that sweet baby Jesus forgave me for all of my sins. Praise God. Right. That's 90% of what the Israelites are going to want to hang on to. Most of them are not going to come to the realization that they must be keeping all of these commandments. Now, give me a Luke chapter 12, verse 48. And if you would, somebody see if they can hunt down this thing beeping over here. Luke chapter 12, verse 48. Got it? Let's go.
This is the book of Luke, chapter 12, verse 48.
It's all right, King. Take your time.
Oh, here we go. Okay. This is the book of Luke, chapter 12, verse 48. But he that knew not, it did commit things worthy of stripes.
So you didn't know what the commandments were, but you committed things worthy of punishment, of stripes. Keep reading.
Shall be beaten with few stripes.
So you gonna be punished. If you were in the world and you didn't know that you were supposed to eat, you were not supposed to eat pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster, you still may have gotten sick. You might have ended up with some stomach viruses. You were beaten, you know what I'm saying, with few lashes. But keep reading.
For unto whomsoever much is given.
Too much is given? Keep reading.
Of him shall be much required.
To him much is required. So if you think you're going to bring your simple behind inside of this truth and still continue to eat pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster, the Most High definitely has some cancer waiting on you. The Most High got some diabetes waiting on you. If you think you're going to come inside of these four walls, receive this information that you have received, and still be a homosexual, the Most High got some AIDS waiting on you. See, you got to understand, to much is given, much is required. And a lot has been given to us. Literally, the keys to this entire planet has been set inside of our hands. The ball is in your court. It simply boils down to what we going to do with the ball. If you think that you're going to bring these Christian philosophies and these Christian ideas by half keeping the commandments, keeping them sometimes, and God know my heart and the rest of that nonsense, you have surely mistaken yourself. And the truth be told, you are in the wrong place. You might as well hit the door and run out of here. Keep reading.
And to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask thee more.
Damn right. The Most High has given us a lot, and he's going to require a lot from us, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Give me Exodus chapter 2, and we're going to start at verse 11. Because we're gonna start dealing with we're gonna break down. I know a lot of us, we've heard about Moses. We've heard about Moses leading the Israelites, out of Egypt. But a lot of the time, it's a lot of details inside of that story that sometimes we take for granted. It's a lot of history inside of that story that we take for granted. So we about to go through this step by step, and we fixing to literally break down exactly Moses' transition from going from the world into the truth and becoming the person that we know that led the Israelites out of Egypt. You got that scripture for me?
Come on.
All right, let's go.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 2, verse 11. And it came to pass in those days, when Moses was grown, that he went out into his brethren and looked on their burdens. And he spied in Egypt, submitting in Hebrew. Smiting in Hebrew. One of his brethren.
So Moses, being a brother in the world, he's starting to care about his people. He's starting to understand that I'm different from the Egyptians. He come outside and he see an Egyptian beating the brakes off of one of his brothers. So Moses is starting to feel some type of way. He a brother in the world. Give me the next scripture.
Verse 12. And he looked this way. And he looked that way.
So Moses looking around, trying to make sure ain't nobody seeing what's going on. Keep reading.
And when he saw that there was no man, he slew the Egyptian.
He did what?
He slew the Egyptian.
Keep reading.
And hid him in the sand.
So Moses put him to death. Moses killed him. Now go to Exodus chapter 20, verse 13. Let's get the law. Let's see what the law says. Because Moses, although Moses, we're going to say his heart, even though we know the scriptures say that your heart is desperately wicked and deceitful above all things, Moses' heart, you could say, was in the right place. He saw his brother being smite by an Egyptian, and he was like, I'm not going to have none of it. Y'all not finna be around here beating up on my brothers. I'm not y'all. Y'all are completely different people. It's no differently than one of us going outside and seeing what the police officers are doing to other black brothers. I mean, you get sick of it. Every time you log on Facebook, you see a police officer whooping a brother or shooting a brother, and you got tired of it. And you put this police officer to death. What inside of your heart, you might feel like that's a right and just thing to do, but the only way you're going to know is to go back to the law and find out if this is something I can be doing. You got that scripture for me?
God.
Read.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 13. Thou shalt not kill.
Thou shalt not what?
Thou shalt not kill.
So the scriptures say that thou shalt not kill. According to the Bible, even though his heart was in the right place, Moses broke a commandment. Maybe not knowing because he's still in the world at this time, but he still broke a commandment. Now give me Numbers chapter 12, verse 1.
God.
Got that for me?
God.
Let's go.
This is the book of Numbers, chapter 12, verse 1. And Miriam and Aaron spanked against Moses.
They did what against Moses?
They spanked against Moses.
So Miriam and Aaron is talking about Moses. Keep reading.
Because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married.
He did what with the Ethiopian woman?
Whom he had married.
Now we know an Ethiopian is an African woman. She is not an Israelite. So he had no business marrying this woman. Keep reading.
For he had married an Ethiopian woman.
Moses married an Ethiopian woman. Now let's go to the law. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 3. We establishing a pattern here. Moses ain't doing that. He out here trying. He trying to do the right thing. He tried to save his brother, but Moses is breaking law after law. Moses is just straight up screwing up out here.
Chapter 11, verse 3.
Chapter 7, verse 3.
7, verse 3. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 3. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them.
Them being the other nations, because we all know, now that you inside of the truth, that if you a black, Hispanic, and Native American, a black, Hispanic, or Native American are your only choices.
That's right.
King Solomon's entire empire was ripped from out of his hands. King David, literally the reason there was peace on the earth is because King David had killed everybody. He had literally killed every enemy there was and handed his empire over to his son, King David. And King David had the empire. Everybody was in subjection. Everybody was in submission up until the point he started to marry women from other nations and completely pissed off and inflamed the Most High God to the point that he ripped the empire from his hands. The Most High would have ripped the entire empire from his hands, but he had made promises to his forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So he left him with the tribe of Judah, but he completely split his entire empire apart. Keep reading.
Thy daughters thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shall thou take unto thy son.
So we reading about Moses. We reading about Moses when he had her completely. I mean, he just screwing up. He marrying women from other nations. He out here killing people. You know what I'm saying? He feels like it's justly, but the truth is it's absolutely unjustly. But there's a key to this. Get me Hebrews chapter 10, verse 26. It's a reason the Most High hadn't put him to death at this point. Because if it would have been a brother that was inside of the truth out here screwing up like this, it would have been a wrap. Because the Most High not going to deal with us the same way. Chapter 10, verse 26. And this is one of those things that needs to be a reminder. And it needs to ring extremely loudly inside of your head once you come into this truth. You got to keep these things on your mind. Because you will look out here and you will see people in the world and it'll seem as if they're getting away with things. But understand, if you take your simple behind out there knowing what you know and you go try to do that, remember the scripture before. You're going to be beat with many lashes. Your punishment is going to be 10 times worse than what theirs ever was with them being ignorant in the world. You got that scripture from me? I read.
This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 26. For if we sin willfully, after that we have received the knowledge.
So you receive the law, statutes, and commandments. You know what they say. But somehow inside of the recesses of your mind, you start listening to that little voice inside of your head and you decide you're going to do it anyways. It said, if you sin willfully, you did it on purpose, even though you know what the law is. Ain't no I'm making oh man, I just slipped up and made that. You know what the law said. You made a conscious decision not to do what the Bible told you to do. Keep reading.
Knowledge of the truth.
And you got knowledge of the truth because you inside of these walls. You logged into class on a regular basis. You know that you are Israelite. You know that the law, statutes, commandments pertain to you. You have knowledge of the truth at this point in time. Read.
There remnant no more sacrifice for sin.
There remaineth no more sacrifice for sin. Like sweet baby Jesus dying on the tree, under the Christmas tree, wherever you want to put it inside of your Christian church philosophy. There remaineth no more sacrifice for sin. You are going to have to be right and exact once you come into this truth. You can't play with the Most High. The days of playing and the days of, I didn't know. Those are far and over with. Too much is given, much is required. You are literally fighting for rulership of this entire planet. When you look at all of the people, whoever you want to look at the major millionaires and the major billionaires on the face of the planet, everything on the earth is owned by 1% of people. There's a top 1% that completely controls everything else. Everything else on the face of the planet. What I'm saying is you're fighting for that top 1%. When you look at Donald Trump and you see how powerful he is on the planet, understand that if you're a man, that you're fighting for that position. You're fighting for him to be removed and you be in that position. If you're a woman, you fighting, you know what I'm saying? So you don't got to date Broke Ray Ray from around the corner no more. Broke Ray Ray going to come up and he going to be Donald Trump one day. That's going to be your husband. And you going to be in rulership. When the scriptures speak about an Israelite woman, it said that she wouldn't even venture to set her feet up on the ground because she was so delicate. That's what you fighting for. Your whole entire job ain't gonna be to go out and make a living no more. It ain't gonna be to deal with none of this. Your job gonna literally consist of raising these kids, making sure your husband all right, traveling the world and spending his billions and trillions of dollars. That's what you're fighting for. But so much is given, much is required. You literally gonna sink or swim with this. Either you gonna receive the blessing or you gonna be destroyed for denying this truth. Let's get some more about, you know what I'm saying, what Moses had going on. And let's see how Moses grew. Now, we was looking at him in the world, committing all of these sins. And really, to be honest with you, nothing major happening to him. Him being completely all right. He's getting opportunity to sin upon opportunity to sin. Let's read about a little bit more of his transformation. Give me Exodus chapter 7 verse 19. Now, if you know anything, you know what I'm saying, just to move y'all forward for time's sake, Moses, you know what I'm saying, came out here, of course, being an Israelite baby, growing up under the fashions of Egypt, and started to realize that he was different. Almost kind of, you know, if you look at, you know, the way Colin Kaepernick did, growing up, you know, around white people and stuff, and started to realize at some point in time, like, hey, you know what? These people y'all shoot down in the street, those are my people. That ain't right. Well, Moses took it upon himself to slay, you know what I'm saying, or slew or kill an Egyptian for what he was doing to one of his Israelite brothers. So he ran away, you know what I'm saying? They were looking for him, they was trying to kill him. He ran away. He came back, you know, he got him some wives and stuff from other nations, which was a sin. For him to kill this man, which was a sin or whatever, but he's still kind of on the path of the transformation, still trying to figure things out. So now Moses popped back up, you know what I'm saying, in front of Pharaoh, and he ain't playing no games, you know what I'm saying. He understands that he's an Israelite. He understands that the Egyptians are a completely different group of people, and Moses got some specific instructions for Pharaoh. Now keep in mind, this is a brother that grew up inside of Pharaoh's home. He grew up inside of their education system, so Pharaoh is familiar with this brother. He know who he is. Read.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 7, verse 19. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying unto Aaron, Take thy rod, and stretch it out thy hand upon the waters of Egypt.
Now, Moses showed up, you know what I'm saying? You gotta imagine, and I was listening to my brother Soccer War break it down. You gotta look at what was going on. Moses wasn't the most fluent brother in speech already. Moses showed up, you know what I'm saying, with Aaron, with his homeboy. Now, he done grew up inside of the house with Pharaoh, and he showed up like, he showed up and whispered inside of Aaron's ear, and Aaron, you know what I'm saying, show up and say, Pharaoh, the Lord said, let my people go. Pharaoh looking at Moses like, what the hell is you, what is you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, I know you. Why you ain't talking to me? You know what I'm saying? So this is the conversation. Literally, you know what I'm saying? Moses ain't even dealing with Pharaoh. He talking to his homeboy, having his homeboy to speak to, you know what I'm saying, Pharaoh. Of course, Pharaoh, you know what I'm saying, ain't letting him go. So Moses lift up the, you know what I'm saying, his rod and do what?
And stretch thy hand upon the waters of Egypt.
Keep reading.
Like upon their streams. Upon their rivers, upon their ponds, and upon their pools of water, that they may become blood.
They may become what?
That they may become blood.
Man, imagine this young man growing up in your household, and he come back and giving you instructions, you know what I'm saying? Telling you what to do. You don't listen to him. What? Take that back. You don't listen to his homeboy because he won't even talk to you. He's talking to his homeboy, telling him to tell you what to do. And he stretch out his arm, you know what I'm saying, and get to hitting the water and then turn into blood. You confused. You like, what? Who is this Negro? You know what I'm saying? What he got going on? Give me Exodus chapter 8, verse 2. We're going to read 2 through 4.
Okay.
You got that for me?
Okay.
Read.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 8. Verse 2. And if thou refuse to let them go. Now
after he done did that, he coming back again. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, you thought that was a joke. If you refuse to let them go, take it. Now understand, Moses ain't saying this to him. This is what Aaron said. Moses is just whispering in Aaron's ear, and Aaron relaying this message. You know what I'm saying? This is all type of disrespectful. Imagine me trying to have a conversation with you and I won't even talk to you. I tell Kawam, you know what I'm saying? My brother Kawam up here reading from me. I'm like, hey, Kawam, tell them, you know what I'm saying, let my people go, bro. And Kawam stood up, Pharaoh, let my people go, or the Lord gonna smite your water, and it's gonna be blood come dripping out. You looking like, nigga, who is this? And lo and behold, you know what I'm saying, Moses lifted up his rod and smite the water, and it turned into blood. You like, And I don't know what he got going on. He tripping. So he show back up again.
Hey, say for mama. Hey, bro. You know what I'm saying? Tell them to let my people go.
Pharaoh, let my people go. This is the conversation. You know what I'm saying? Moses won't even address this man. You know what I'm saying? He got his homeboy addressing Reed.
Behold, I will smite all thy borders with frogs, and the river shall bring forth frogs abundantly.
This is silliness. Now he coming back, you know what I'm saying, yeah, hey, if you don't let my homeboy people go, I'm finna have frogs all over the place. They were like, I don't give a damn about no frogs, bro. What is you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Keep reading.
Which shall go up and come into thy house, and come into thy bedchamber, and upon thy bed, and into the house of thy servants, and upon thy people, and into thy ovens, and into thy knitting troughs. Salakia.
It's all good.
And the frog shall come up both on thee, and upon thy people, and upon all thy servants.
Alright. Now, so now you got frogs every damn where. You got bloody water, you know what I'm saying? Moses is steady performing these weird, you can't even at this point even really call them miracles. Because Pharaoh looking at him like, what the hell is the dude got? Why he won't talk to me? And why is all this weird stuff happening? Give me Exodus chapter 8, verse 16.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 8, verse 16. And the Lord said unto Moses, say unto Aaron, stretch out thy rod, and smite the dust of the land, that it might become lice throughout all the land of Egypt.
So here Moses go again, whispering in Aaron's ear.
Hey, say here, tell the people, you know what I'm saying, if you don't let our people go, that it's going to be a bunch of lice all over the place.
And here we go. Pharaoh, let my people go, or it's going to be lice everywhere. Keep reading.
And they did so. For Aaron stretched out his hand with his rod, and smote the dust of the earth.
Boom.
And it became lice in man, lice and in beasts.
Lice everywhere, you know what I'm saying? I ain't never had lice. I know many black people don't deal with these problems, but if you ever looked online and seen white folks with lice, good night. It looks, I don't even know what they look like, little fleas or something crawling all in your head, you know what I'm saying? I mean, good night. Imagine lice everywhere. And it's getting even worse. Give me Exodus chapter 9, verse 3.
The book of Exodus, chapter 9, verse 3. Behold, the hand of the Lord is upon thy cattle, which is in the field, upon the horses, upon the asses, upon the camels, upon the oxen, and upon the sheep. There shall be a very grievous murmuring. And the Lord shall severe between the cattle of Israel.
So, hold on, Salaki. So let's get an account. Now you had this brother that once upon a time, you know what I'm saying, stayed in Pharaoh's kingdom or whatever. Woke up one day and was like, man, this stuff ain't right that was going on. He committing all of these sins, but the Most High ain't put him to death for it. Now somewhere along the line, the Most High started to deal with him. So he showed back up and he performing all of these weird, you know what I'm saying, acts of weird miracles. He done made blood show up in the water. He done had frogs jumping all over the place. He done had lights going on, you know what I'm saying. He even had flies all over the place. Now he having a livestock, you know what I'm saying, killed or whatever. Give me Exodus chapter 9 verse 8.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 9, verse 8. And the Lord said unto Moses and unto Aaron, take to you handfuls of ashes of the furnace, and let Moses sprinkle it towards the heavens in the sight of Pharaoh. And it shall become small dust in all the land of Egypt. And it shall be boiled, breaking forth with blains upon man.
It shall be what?
It shall be a boil breaking forth with blains upon man.
This is when Pharaoh started to know it got real. All of the rest of the stuff, see, this ain't no big coinky-dink. This ain't no big coincidence. Every time Moses come up with this silly act where he goes speaking into the ear of Aaron, and Aaron lift up his rod or lift up his arms, and all of this stuff start happening. He like, whoa, this stuff for real. Like, I don't know what's going on, but it's some real life and real 4D, 3D miracles going on right here. I don't know what's going on with this weird kid, but this stuff is for real. Give me Exodus chapter 9, verse 16. It just keep on.
Okay. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 9, verse 16. And in very deed for this cause have I raised thee up, for to sue in thee my power.
Hold on, talking about, is Exodus chapter 9, verse 16?
Go ahead.
Give me Exodus chapter 10, verse 4.
Go ahead. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 10, verse 4. Else, if thou refuse to let my people go, behold, tomorrow I will bring the locust into thy coast.
So now you got locusts or whatever flying all over the place, just to cut through the chase with that. So now you done had blood water, you done had frogs, you done had lice, you done had all the livestock die, they done had boils all over them. You know what I'm saying? Exodus 9 around 16 talk about hail falling down, killing stuff. Now you got locusts eating up everything. Give me Exodus chapter 10 verse 21.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 10, verse 21. Then Moses called for all the elders of Israel and said unto them, draw out and take you a lamb according to your families, and kill the Passover. And ye shall take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in the blood, that is at the basin, and strike the lintel and the two sides posts with the blood that it is in the basin.
Give me 10 and 22. It's all good.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 10, verse 22. And Moses stretched forth his hands towards the heaven.
There we go.
And there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days. They saw not one another, neither rose any from his place.
Now, if you could imagine it being completely pitch dark for 3 days, you can't imagine just closing your eyes being blind for 3 days. Give me Exodus chapter 11, verse 4.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 11, verse 4. And Moses said, thus said the Lord, about midnight will I go out into the midst of Egypt. And all the firstborn of the land of Egypt shall die.
Damn. Give me verse 5.
Verse 5. And all the firstborn in the land of Egypt shall die. From the firstborn of Pharaoh that sitteth upon his throne. Even unto the firstborn of the maidservant that is behind the mill.
Damn right.
And all the firstborn of the beasts.
So now, this is about the time, just to cut the chase. I done went through all of these different miracles, you know what I'm saying, that Moses done performed. This is about the time that Pharaoh, just like, I done had enough. You know what I'm saying? When everybody started dying, and this is why we celebrate, of course, the Passover. Everybody started dying, and his firstborn died. It was it, man. They had all they could take. They literally, the scripture said that they thrust out the children of Israel. So they threw them out. They kicked them out. Moses they literally went from a stone cold, well, I ain't gonna say a stone cold killer, but from a killer, somebody breaking the commandments, somebody that's going and dealing with women from other nations, to literally becoming the physical representation of the Most High for the children of Israel. You know what I'm saying? Like, the scriptures talk about how Aaron will be a voice unto him. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, Moses wasn't able to speak as fluently as Aaron. And Moses would be like a God unto him. Basically, you know what I'm saying? God ain't dealing with everybody. You know what I'm saying? No differently than in school. I might feel a certain way about something, but the truth be told is the Most High not dealing with me personally. The Most High dealing, you know what I'm saying, with Commander Gen.YAHANNA. That's why we got rank, order, and structure. That's why an order come down and the order is followed. Well, in this situation, you know what I'm saying, instead of Commander Gen.YAHANNA, you had Moses at the time. And the Lord was dealing with Moses. So instructions came down, and Moses literally was like a god unto these other people because the Most High was dealing with them. You know what I'm saying? Well, they got kicked out. So Moses went all the way from this destroyed state, this person that was breaking these commandments, to literally being the physical representation of the Most High right here on the planet for all of the children of Israel. So here they go on their journey out into the wilderness. So let's get a little bit more of social commentary on what was going on in the wilderness. Give me Numbers chapter 20, verse 1.
This is the book of Numbers, chapter 20, verse 1. Then came the children of Israel, even the whole congregation, into the desert of Zin in the first month. And the people abode in Kadesh. And Miriam died there and was buried there.
Keep reading.
Verse 2. And there was no water for the congregation, and they gathered themselves together against Moses.
So that they out here in the wilderness. They done got kicked up out of Egypt from all of these miracles that this dude that once upon a time was sinning came back and somehow was the physical representation of the Most High right here. And he done led them out into the wilderness, and now they out here about to kick the bucket of dehydration. They thirsty in the mud. So now they starting to look at Moses like, bruh, so you brought us out here, you ain't have no plan to get us no water or nothing? We just gonna be thirsty? Keep reading.
And against Aaron, and the people called with Moses, and spake, saying, would God that we had died when our brethren died before the Lord. Like, verse 4. And why have ye brought up the congregation of the Lord into this wilderness?
So why would you bring us out here? Yeah, whatever. Forget them little funky miracles you just performed. What the hell would you bring us out here? Okay, you had a plan for the miracles, but you ain't got a plan for us to get no water. So Moses, bro, you tripping, man. What you bring us out here for? Keep reading.
That we and our cattle should die.
So you did all of that for us to come out here and die? And that really goes to show the destroyed state of our people. That even back then, this is terrible. You see this man perform all of these miracles, and you still ain't got enough faith to believe that if he had a plan and he had the power that was working for him to perform all these miracles, somehow it lost power when they got out here in the wilderness. And it changed the water to blood, caused frogs, killed the firstborn, did all of this, but the power ain't got enough sense to give y'all some water. Our people was destroyed then, and we still destroyed now. Keep reading.
Verse 4. And why ye have brought up the congregation of the Lord into this wilderness, that we and our cattle should die there. Verse 5. And wherefore ye have made us to come up out of Egypt, to bring us in unto this evil place. It is no place of seed, or of figs, or of vines, or of pomegranates. Neither is there any water to drink.
Like, we ain't got no food, we ain't got no water. Moses, you done lost your damn mind. You come up here, you know what I'm saying, whispering in Aaron's ear like you can't even talk to nobody. You too good to have a conversation with us, and then we like dummies that followed you out here in the wilderness with no food or water. Give me the next verse.
Verse 6. And Moses and Aaron went from the presence of the assembly unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And they fell upon their faces, and the glory of the Lord appeared unto them.
Keep reading.
Verse 7. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, take the rod.
The same rod you've been using to perform all these miracles. Take this rod. Keep reading.
And gather thou the assembly together.
So bring everybody out here so they can see what's about to go on. Keep reading.
Thou and Aaron thy brother, and speak ye unto the rock before their eyes.
Keep reading.
And it shall give forth his water.
Uh-huh.
And thou shalt bring forth to them water out of the rock.
So Basically, perform another miracle. Business as usual. This ain't nothing hard. This is what you've been doing. Keep reading.
So thou shalt give the congregation and their beasts drink.
Already, keep reading.
Verse 9. And Moses took the rod from before the Lord, as he commanded him.
So he pulled out the rod. He appeared he finna do what he been told to do. Keep reading.
Verse 10. And Moses and Aaron gathered the congregation together before the rock. And he said unto them, Hear now, ye rebels.
Listen here, you hard-headed folks.
Right.
You people that ain't got no damn faith, man. Dang, you got me out here. I got to do everything for y'all. Right. Keep reading.
Must we fetch you water out of this rock?
He said, must who?
Must we fetch you water out of this rock?
He said, must we fetch you water out of this rock?
That's right.
Notice he said, must we, as if Moses got the power. Moses got the power from the, you notice he, all of a sudden, now he's not giving credit to the Lord. He said, must we fetch you water? Like he got the juice, you know what I'm saying? Keep reading.
Verse 11. And Moses lifted up his hand. And with his rod he smote the rock twice.
He smote the rock how many times?
He smote the rock twice.
Did the Most High tell him to smite the rock twice? I didn't read that nowhere in the Bible. He already now he's starting to go off. Remember, he went off earlier, you know what I'm saying? He went off whenever he was killing, you know what I'm saying, the Egyptians. He went off when he was marrying women, you know what I'm saying, from another nation. And the Most High still rose him up and allowed him to perform all these miracles. That's where Moses is again in the truth. See, this is different. He's in the truth now and he's going off again. Keep reading.
And the water came out abundantly.
The water came out, you know what I'm saying, business as usual, no sweat, you know what I'm saying, the Lord still with him. Keep reading.
And the congregation drank, and their beasts also.
So everybody drank, you know what I'm saying, he's still sinning. Oh, well, he in the truth, he was out the truth, he was sinning. He in the truth, he was sinning. Read the next verse.
Verse 12. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron. Because ye believe me not.
Because you what?
Because ye believe me not.
Keep reading.
To sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel.
So you didn't give me credit. You went off on your own, you know what I'm saying, to say you and your brother did this, even though I'm the one that performed all the miracles. Nigga, you ain't did a damn thing.
That's right.
But you gonna take my credit since you sanctify me not. Keep reading.
Therefore ye shall not bring this congregation into the land which I have given them.
So Moses done performed all of these miracles. Everything. All of this hard work. You've been going out here in the streets prophesying to these people, feeding the people, dealing, you know what I'm saying, dealing with your woman at home thinking you done lost your damn mind for coming up inside of this coat with these Negroes, you know what I'm saying? Sisters done come up in the truth. What? You ain't celebrating Christmas. You got to get out that devilish organization. No Thanksgiving. Birthdays, but it's for the kids.
That's right.
You crazy. You done endured all of that.
That's right.
To make it up to her, you said to disobey the Most High and fell short. Well, Moses did all of the miracles. He did all of that for the Most High to tell him he ain't even gonna get in. I mean, like that's a rough pill to swallow. To be told you not gonna get in after all of that. Give me Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 52.
And 52. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32.
Salaki. I don't want that one quite yet. I don't want that quite yet. You read Deuteronomy chapter. Well, use it. Numbers chapter. Yeah. Salaki. Yeah, go and get it to me.
Okay, it's coming. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 52. Yet thou shalt see the land before thee.
So the Most High so gangster. He said you can go look at the land. You can go look at all of it. Keep reading.
But thou shalt not go there until the land which I give the children of Israel.
So you can go look at all the land, but you can't even get in.
That's right.
Like, that go to show how detail-oriented you got to be once you come into this truth. You cannot play with this. Moses was screwing all up in the beginning. It was fine. No sweat, you know what I'm saying? Like the scripture said, he would be beat with a few lashes. Yeah, he had to run up out of the city. Yeah, he had to run up out of the town and go flee to another town, but he had his life spared. You know, he was able to go over there and live and be perfectly fine. Then come back even stronger than he was at first and perform all of these miracles. And then he come back, you know what I'm saying, once he is in the truth and once he done dealt with the Most High done dealt with him, he do something which would seem like something small. He got mad and struck the rock twice. The water still came out. The people still, you know what I'm saying, they didn't die of thirst. But now, brother, you didn't do what I said do. You didn't do what I said do. Now, we're going to take it all the way back home. Give me Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15.
That's right. Okay. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
If you won't listen to the Most High. This is a milk scripture. This is one of the scriptures we all should have got. But sometimes we don't go back and dive in detail to get the social commentary around what was going on, you know what I'm saying, leading up to all of this. Keep reading.
To observe, to do all his commandments.
To do how many of them?
To do all his commandments.
Again, when you come inside of these doors, you're going to have to be right and exact. You cannot play with this. Like, the times of, put it like this. If it come down to something and you're not sure, you best just leave it alone until you ask somebody that can clarify you on what's going on. You would be better just to stay away from that than to make a mistake after you come in here. Keep reading.
To do all his commandments.
Every single last one of them. Keep reading.
And his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
And I'm going to tell you right now, to perform all of the miracles and bring them hard-headed Negroes out of there and take them into the wilderness and find out that you ain't going to go in, but you can look at the land after you did all this work, that is a terrible curse. Good night. It's like us sitting up here and we doing all of this work dealing with these people. Think we done lost our minds out there on these streets with what we talking about. Do all of this fighting to raise up this nation. How shall I come back and you don't make it? After you done all of the work to build it up. You done suffered all of this because you want to be simple and violate this little commandment over here. No, you're going to have to keep them all. Keep reading.
Cursed shall thou be in the city.
Damn right. You know what I'm saying? And you already know what's going on after that, man. You're going to be cursed all over the place. But nevertheless, you know what I'm saying? Being cursed, go back to being beat with those many lashes, man. I don't want to do all of this work and look at my brother Amat and all of these sisters and my brother Kawam head to the kingdom, and I got to sit out here and just,
That's right.
Like, I can't deal with that. And that's why one of the things, you know, we gotta not only check one another, but sometimes you gotta look in the mirror and keep yourself in check as well. And it's one of them things, man, that this stay a starch reminder in the back of my head, like, man, I can't play with this. I can't be slipping when it comes to this. I got to be right and exact. And if it's a gray area, there are no gray areas. I just don't know what the hell I'm reading. Or I don't know, you know what I'm saying, if I should be doing this. Let me pick up the phone, you know. Hey, I read this right here in the scripture. I'm not sure if I can be doing this. I'm trying to start this business. I'm not sure if it's going to be a violation of this, that, and the other. What's that? Get some counsel on it. What I'm saying is, don't take this lightly. Take this extremely seriously, because it literally is life and death out here. Give me, let's see here. Give me Matthew chapter 24, verse 13. Man, and even the more cold part, even in that, after Moses slipped up, messed up, and the Most High told him that he told him, go look at the land and you can't get it. Then he turned around and told him, I'm going to raise up Joshua and Caleb, and they're going to go into the promised land, and you're going to have to be the one to raise them up. So now he got to sit here and teach him everything he done learned, knowing that he raising up the people that's going to take his place and go into the promised land, and he ain't going to make it in. Like, man, that's a lot behind a small mistake. But at this point in time, once you're in the truth, it ain't no small mistakes. Either you're going to keep the commandments or you not. It ain't no other way around. You got that scripture for me?
God.
I read that.
This is the book of St. Matthew, verse 24. Chapter 24, verse 13.
Yeah, I'm right.
But he that shall endure to the end.
Nah, endure sometime.
But he that shall endure until the end.
But you know, sweet baby Jesus though. What about him?
But he that shall endure until the end.
So God don't got me?
But he that shall endure until the end.
I'm gonna tell you how this God be. That ain't gonna get me in there?
But he that shall endure until the end.
Endure it to the end. Read.
The same shall be saved.
The same shall be saved. You gotta get this right from start to finish.
That's right.
And when I say start, I mean from the time that you walk into these doors and you receive your Hebrew name, the games begin.
That's right.
If you notice, whenever you come into the truth, like, I keep getting it. I mean, I bring it up all the time, and you would think people that watch the videos would understand it, but I still keep getting it. And I came into the truth, I lost my job, and my woman left me, and nigga, what did you expect? Like that's when it began. Like, the whole time you was out in the world, it's like, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Once you come into the truth, now God, you know what I'm saying, it's like, okay. Let me see what he made out of, you know what I'm saying? Let me see, he said he loved me. That's his real right there. Let me break that whole little thing up. Is he gonna serve me or is he gonna serve her? That's literally what it breaks down to, you know what I'm saying? And even when you, I harp on the story so much because it's so real. Even when you deal with the book of Job, the Most High said, have you not considered my servant Job? The Most High got Job into that situation. When you read that whole book about all of the stuff that Job went through, you got to read it and understand that the Most High did that to Job. Why? To test him. Even whenever we would go into these other lands, he said that he left these other nations to see whether we would keep his commandments or not. He left them there to prove us. What I'm saying is, another level, another devil.
That's right.
And that's the way you got to look at it. As you grow in this truth, don't look at it as if things are just going to get easier and they're going to flow smoother. You'll get that when you get to the kingdom or whatever, you know what I'm saying? You being tried, you being tested. You think you're going to receive all of this glory, all of this power, all of this might for nothing? That's Christianity. That ain't this.
That's right.
See here, give me Matthew chapter 7, verse 22.
7 verse 20. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 22. Many will say to me in that day.
Many. It didn't say a few, it said many. Keep reading.
Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name?
Keep reading.
And in thy name have we cast out devils?
First of all, you know what I'm saying, if you able to prophesy on any level, whether that be to prophesy is like to speak the words of God, you know what I'm saying? If you prophesy, or you know what I'm saying, prophesying also could be you saying something beforehand and it coming true. Either way, whether you speaking the words of the Most High, you had to took the time to study this book, you know what I'm saying? If you able to prophesy something before it happens, that takes some type of ability. You getting some power from somewhere. Keep reading.
And in thy name done many wonderful works.
And also cast out devils. If you casting out devils, this ain't no big coinky-dink. This ain't some big coincidence, some stuff that you Googled online and figured out. It's something that you done had to put in some type of work to understand something. And done many wonders. So apparently you took some type of work to learn something and figure out something. Keep reading.
Verse 23. And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you.
Damn. So you done took all of this work to figure all of this out, and the Most High say, I never knew you. I ain't never know who you was. Keep reading.
Depart from me, ye that work iniquity.
Damn right. What I'm saying is you gonna have to be right and exact once you come inside of these 4 walls. You're gonna have to once you come into this truth. You are going to receive a reward that nobody else can fathom. Nobody can wrap their minds around. The scripture, y'all know I ain't the best at, you know what I'm saying, quoting scriptures, but it's the scripture saying that no eye has seen, no ear has heard, nor has entered into the hearts of men the things that he has prepared for those that love him. Something of that nature. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Google it. Nevertheless, Salakia, the Most High has got an amazing reward waiting on us, those of us that choose to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. But good night, if you come in here and keep them for a minute and decide that you're going to get out, the Lord be with you, brother and sister. I say the Lord is not with you. Nevertheless, give me Matthew chapter 12, verse 43. You can't. All right, it's essential. You can't come in here and keep the commandments for a little bit and then decide that you don't want to keep them no more. Like, I would advise you not to do that. You got that for me?
43?
12:43, right? 12:43.
12:43. Book of Matthew, chapter 12, verse 43. When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places.
So, let's just say an unclean spirit, you know what I'm saying, was cast up out of you. You came in here with all of these demons, all these wicked lusts, all of these desires, whether it be to eat things that are unclean, lusting after, you know what I'm saying, another, you know what I'm saying, man's wife, whether it be a woman lusting after other men after she got a husband and cheat. You came in here with all of these psychological, spiritual issues, and you got rid of them. They were casted out through the priests and prophets of the Lord. Keep reading.
He walketh through dry places.
So the spirit is walking through dry places. Keep reading.
Seeking rest. And finding none.
All right, keep going.
44. Then he said, I will return into my house from whence I came out.
He will return back into the body that he came out of. Keep reading.
And when he is come, he findeth it empty.
So it's empty because all of the spirit's been casted out. Keep reading.
Swept and garnished.
It's a brand new house. Keep going.
45. Then goeth he and taketh with himself 7 other spirits.
How many?
7 other spirits.
So he got booted out. He was roaming around. He came back and was like, hey, this is my old house. Somebody cleaned it up and decorated it for me.
Right.
He called all the homies. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, come on, man. This is a brand new spot. Keep reading.
And taketh with himself 7 other spirits more wicked than himself.
Damn.
Yeah.
You got an even bigger issue. So now, keep reading.
And they entered in and dwelled there.
So now you had one devil. And then you know what I'm saying, end up with 7 more, even more wicked than the last one. Because you wanted to come up in here, get rid of all of these demons, but because of what the Christian church done told you, you done let this nonsense creep inside of your head, now you're back to sinning. You gonna create a problem even bigger or even worse than it would have been if you just would have stayed outside of these 4 walls. Keep reading.
And the last state of that man is worse than the first.
Read that again.
And the last state of that man is worse than the first.
It's even worse than the first state. You would have been better off staying out there in the world than you ever would have coming in here and receiving this knowledge and think you're going to go back into the world. It's a wrap. You in this for life. Literally. Or you choosing death, and your death is going to be even worse than a person that never even came inside of these 4 walls. Keep reading.
Even so it shall be also into the wicked generation.
Damn right. Give me John chapter 5, verse 5.
John chapter 5.
Verse 5. Verse 5.
This is the book of John, chapter 5, verse 5. And a certain man was there, which had an infirmity 38 years.
He had an infirmity how long?
38 years.
It's a man that's been out here in the world dealing with this issue for 38 years. That's a long time to be living with some nonsense going on. Skip down to verse 8.
Verse 8. Jesus said unto him, Rise, take up thy bed and walk.
So Jesus just healed him. This man had this issue for 38 years. Jesus that came by and did what Jesus do. He just out here healing folks. Here's another one. Skip down to verse 14. Listen very closely to what he told this man though.
Verse 14. Afterwards, Jesus finding him in the temple and said unto him, Behold, thou art made whole.
So behold, you came, it's no different. You coming inside of the ISUPK, and you starting to work on yourself, and you getting all of these demons eliminated. And at some point in time, you become whole. You received your Hebrew name, and you defeated all of these wicked demons living inside of you. So you have become whole. Read.
Sin no more.
Do what?
Sin no more.
Don't take your reign back here out here in this world and sin again. Read the next part.
Lest a worse thing.
Lest a what?
Lest a worse thing.
Lest a what?
Lest a worse thing.
Lest a worse thing. Keep reading.
Come unto thee.
You can't play with this. Lest a worse thing come into you. You come in here and you beat weed and you think you won't go back out there and smoke weed again? Good luck. Shalom. Get away from me. Because I don't want nothing to do with what's about to happen to you. Ain't no game. We can't play with this. So much is given, much is required. And the weight of the entire planet literally rests on our shoulders. Some questions coming in this thing or something?
I feel my mind too.
I don't think I know how to do Salakia. Let me check this out. See what's going on the YouTube. Getting text messages. See here. Well, my YouTube ain't exactly already Most High in Christ. But yeah, back to what I was saying. In a nutshell, whenever you come inside of this truth, you can't play with it. You're gonna have to be right and exact. And sometimes you're gonna receive orders that don't make no sense to you. But you gotta understand that the Most High not dealing with you. No differently, you're saying that the Most High was not dealing with everybody in Israel. The Most High was dealing with Moses. All of that, you know what I'm saying? I prayed last night and I talked to God. You talking to yourself inside of your head. I can just straight up tell you. You had a conversation with yourself last night and you convinced yourself to do whatever the hell it was that you wanted to do in the first place. Just straight up. You know what I'm saying? If you want to inquire of the Lord, you're going to have to go to a priest and prophet of the Lord. And the Most High already said what he got to say. And that priest and prophet is going to be intelligent enough to be able to go inside of the scriptures and find whatever scenario that you're dealing with and find out according to the scriptures what you should or you should not do. The Most High not having a conversation with you. So I say that to say, again, we're going to have to be right and exact with what we're told to do according to this Bible, and we're gonna have to execute. We cannot be playing with this. I'm gonna go through. What time is time? Make sure we ain't going on all the time. I'm gonna go through one other scenario. You know what I'm saying, inside of this Bible. So like, what's up?
I have a question.
What's up? What's your question?
When you said basically when we learn better, we do better.
Damn right.
Moses was in the world and he was sinning, and he had a heathen wife.
Mm-hmm.
When he learned that dealing with those other nations was a sin, did he have to put her away?
No, absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? The scriptures say that the Lord hated divorce. If you got a heathen wife and you got that heathen wife in the world, then that's your cross to bear. You're gonna have to keep that little puppy dog with you. Don't bring her here for no high holy days. She not coming nowhere around here. But that's your heathen. Shalom. Lord be with you, brother. Don't go get no more.
So he still had to.
He still had to keep him. And he had to do everything that was required to him. Yeah, bless his heart. Good night. I can't even imagine. Glad I don't got them type of problems.
Right.
Nevertheless, he had to do everything that he was required to according to the scriptures. Because in Israel, we don't put away our wives. Even if you wouldn't, you know what I'm saying, married, little cousin it. I can't. I'm just saying. Yeah, ain't no, you know what I'm saying, ain't no divorce, you know what I'm saying, inside of Israel. Except for under one condition, and you already know what that is.
Right.
So, you know, Most High in Christ. Got any more questions? All right. Let's go. Yeah, we got enough time. Yeah. We got enough time to deal with it. Let's go to Genesis chapter 19, verse 1.
Genesis chapter 19, verse 1.
Uh-huh.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 19, verse 1.
Uh-huh.
And there came two angels to Sodom and Eden, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom.
Uh-huh.
And Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them. And he bowed himself with his face towards the ground.
Already, keep reading.
And he said, Behold now, my lords, turn in, I pray to you, unto your servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet. And ye shall rise up early, and go on your ways.
All right, now if you know anything about the customs in Israel, if you take a brother inside of your house, this brother is your responsibility. And I love my brothers, but this is one of the reasons I don't bring brothers inside of my home to take them in for us to live with me. Because this man's well-being is your responsibility. And that's a big weight to bear up on your shoulders. Whether it be for a short period of time or a long period of time. I don't take on no long responsibilities like that because good night. I know what the law say and I know what's going to be required of me. Well, this brother right here, he knew what the law said. So he took these brothers in. And he made them his responsibility. Keep reading.
And he said, Behold now, my Lord, turn in, I pray to you, unto your servant's house, and tarry all night. Verse 3.
Uh-huh.
And he pressed upon them greatly.
Uh-huh.
And they turned into him, and entered into his house.
Uh-huh.
And he made them a feast. And did bake unleavened bread.
So he's doing according to what the law said. He's providing for these brothers. He provided them a place to come and take a bath. He provided them with a roof, and he's providing them with food. That's his responsibility. That's what we do inside of Israel. You don't come here and you got to provide for yourself. No, you under my roof. You under my protection. This is the house of the Lord. And that's what I am here to do, to provide for you, my brother. And this brother is doing exactly what the law said that he should do. Keep reading.
And they did eat. Verse 4. But before they laid down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round. Compassed the house round. Both old and young, and all the people from every quarter.
So now you know what I'm saying? People are surrounding the house on all sides. Give me the next scripture.
And they called unto Lot, and said unto him, Where are the men which came in the house, came into thee this night? Bring them out unto us, that we may know them.
Now, if you know anything about the scriptures, the Bible don't. There's no. You don't. When you read the Bible don't say have sex. It'll say things like the pleasure that came with rest. I mean, any nut with a brain, I hope would know what that is. It say things like know them. You know, things of that nature. Well, this scripture said that there was some brothers trying to know these brothers. This is some homosexual activity. They trying to lay down with some brothers. In a nutshell, they trying to rape them. Keep reading.
Verse 6. And Lot went out at the door unto them.
And Lot went out. You know what I'm saying? He put himself in the line of fire. Keep reading.
And shut the door after him. And said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly.
Lot, this is a man of the Lord. Because Lot know what the law say. He said, don't do this to these brothers. He didn't put himself out here in front of this angry mob. Keep reading.
Behold now, I have 2 daughters, which I have not known man.
Man, and this right here, this get rough. Lot put himself out here. That's one thing, putting himself, a grown man, in the line of fire. But Lot said, look, I got 2 daughters. Keep reading.
Which have not known man.
So they've never had sex. They've never known with a man. They've never laid with a man. Keep reading.
Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you. And do ye to them is a good in your eyes.
He say, I beg you, don't do this to these brothers. Do whatever you want to my daughters. Because Lot knows what the law says. There ain't no way psychologically, mentally, dealing with common sense, nothing. This make no sense on no type of level to send your baby girls out here to get raped by this angry mob instead of these fully grown brothers. Anybody in their right mind and their logical, sane thinking mind would be like, look, brothers, you know what I'm saying? Y'all grown. I'll come out here and help y'all fight. But I ain't sending my kids out here. That ain't even no option. But Lot know what this law say. And Lot know that these men are his responsibility. And under no circumstances can any harm come to them. Keep reading.
Good. For therefore came, Salakia.
It's all right.
For therefore came they under the shadow of my roof.
There you go. Because Lot know what the law say. They under my roof, so they my protection. So Lot is just being obedient, even though it don't make no damn sense in the world to him. He know what that law say. And he's sticking to the script. And that's literally where that saying come from. We say stick to the script. He's talking about stick to the scriptures. He's sticking to the script. Keep reading.
Verse 9. And they said, stand back. And they said again, this is one fellow came into sojourn, and he will needs be a judge. Now will we deal worse with thee than with them?
Damn. Keep reading.
And they press sore upon the man.
So they like, man, whatever what you talking about, you know what I'm saying? We gonna take you. Like, keep reading.
But then the man put forth their hand and pulled out Lot into the house to them and shut the door.
But these is angels. So they put forth their hand, like, get your simple butt back in here. All right, we see you gonna keep the law, you know what I'm saying? And they slam the door, you know what I'm saying? Like, all right, we got this. We see that you gonna be obedient. See, this is the way the Most High maneuver. The Most High gonna send these tests to you. And they might not make no damn sense in the world to you, but you better stick to the script. Lot was in trouble. Lot was in a disaster up until the point that they saw, okay, you know what? You crazy. You crazy enough to come up in this thing that they call a cult. You crazy enough to put on this all black. You crazy enough, you know what I'm saying, to be with this brother even though it's a chance that he could have another wife. You crazy enough, you know what I'm saying, to come up in this world and forsake everything. I heard all of the whores, all of the women that you could have that would be with you in wickedness. Women don't give you no problem, you know what I'm saying, about having another woman while you in wickedness. You be with Kimberly over here, Tisha over there, Pam over here. They all know about it and everybody is fine. But you come into this mug and say that I'm going to do this righteously, and all hell breaks loose. Since you crazy enough to stand up on what I told you to do, all right, we got it from here, Lot. And get your simple behind back in here. And they shut the door. Keep reading.
Verse 11. And they smote the men.
They did what?
And they smote the men.
The Most High ain't playing no games. Keep reading.
That were at the door of the house with blindness.
They blind. Just like that. The moment that they noticed that Lot was willing to put himself in jeopardy, put his children in jeopardy to keep the laws, boom. These is when these spiritual powers come into play. Keep reading.
Both small and great.
Damn right.
So that they wearied themselves to find the door.
That gotta be scary to go blind like that. Keep reading though.
Verse 12. And the men said unto Lot, hast thou here any besides? Son-in-law, and thy sons, and thy daughters, and whosoever thou hast in the city, bring them out of this place.
Damn right. Keep reading. Give me the next scripture.
Verse 13. For we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxed great before the face of the Lord.
So they like, get everybody, these angels like, get everybody that's yours and get them out of this place, because we about to turn this mug upside down. Keep reading.
And the Lord had sent us to destroy it.
See, this whole time Lot thought he was dealing with two brothers, but this was just a test. The Most High is full of tests. That's literally all this thing is. It's just, this whole entire setup is literally a big test, whether you will keep these commandments or not. Will you do what I said do even when it don't make sense or not? Keep reading.
Verse 14. And Lot went out and spake unto his sons-in-law, which married his daughters, and said, Up, get you out of this place, for the Lord will destroy this city. But he seemed as one that mocked unto his son-in-law.
He said, man, get up. Literally, hurry up. This place about to go upside down. Give me the next scripture.
Verse 15. And when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot, saying, Arise, take thy wife and thy two daughters, which are here, lest thou become consumed in the iniquity of the city.
Hurry up and get out of here. Next scripture.
And while he lingered, the men laid hold upon his hand.
So he not moving fast enough. So they grab his hand. Keep reading.
And upon the land of and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hand of his two daughters. And the Lord being merciful unto him, and they brought him forth and set him without the city.
They snatched him up and brought him up out of the city. You moving too slow, brother. You don't understand the seriousness of it. We see that you're going to keep the commandment, so we got you. Since you moving too slow, we about to snatch you up and we going to set you outside of the city, because we about to tear this place down. Keep reading.
Verse 17. And it came to pass, when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, Escape for thy life. Look not behind thee.
Don't turn around. Don't look behind. Don't feel bad about it. Like, literally, you know what I'm saying? You better keep trucking, man. Don't get to second guessing. Don't do like these Israelites did in the wilderness. You know what I'm saying? They started looking back and wanting to go back to Egypt, because apparently Moses didn't have it figured out after he performed all these miracles. Don't make no sense, but that's what we're dealing with out here in the streets. Don't turn back. Keep moving forward. Keep reading.
Neither stay thou in all the plains. Escape to the mountain, lest thou be consumed.
Now, let's jump down to Genesis chapter 19, verse 26. We gotta be right and exact. We can't play with this.
Verse 26. But his wife looked back from behind him.
She did what?
But his wife looked back from behind him.
So here this is, a man of the Lord that is keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. So she had to been taught the commandments. She had to been taught the seriousness of the Lord. This is a man that was willing to put his virgin daughters, and virgin according to what they call a virgin is today. They had never known men in jeopardy to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. He was given an order to get out. She broke that order, because they were told not to look back, but she looked back. Read.
And she became a pillar of salt.
Read it again.
And she became a pillar of salt.
Sweet baby Jesus did not save her that day.
That's right.
All she committed was a very small sin according to people that would be in the world. That's a small thing. She just looked back. She became a pillar of salt. She was put to death.
That's right.
And that goes back to what I've been saying since we started this class. You come inside of these doors, you receive your Hebrew name, you keeping these law, statutes, and commandments. Don't play with it. Don't play with it at all. That goes from myself. That goes from the top all the way to Commander GEN.YAHANNA all the way down. You know what I'm saying? The Most High is not, the Most High did not allow Moses to go into the promised land after all of those miracles. If he dealt with Moses that way, you can't imagine that you feel like you are on the level of Moses. I ain't seen no nigga split no Red Sea lately. I ain't seen them turn no water into blood or none of that. So it would behoove you to keep all of these commandments with extreme detail. Now, if I ain't got no questions in the room, what's going on, little man? What's your question? No, okay, well, you acting like you're shy. What's your question? Hold on.
What certain kind of dust was she privy to?
What certain kind of what?
Which one of death?
Well, I'm gonna tell you like this, baby girl.
Yeah,
she was turned into a pillar of salt. That's all of the information that we were given, and that's more than enough information for me to keep all of the commandments. I don't care what type. I can't even tell you the different types of dust there is right now. I don't need to know what type of dust. She was turned into salt. Do you want to be turned into salt? I don't want to be turned into salt either. Shalom. This is Officer I.S.U.P.K with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out of 1 West 125th Street under Commanding General Yohanna. Keep all of the laws, statutes, and commandments. If you don't have a head, you don't have a body. Commanding General Yohanna is our head right now on the planet Earth until Christ sits back in his seat. Shalom. Mosaic Christ.
You got to eat.